Alright, so let's see if the audio is okay. How's it going, everyone? I hope you all are doing great. I'm Dorprado and I'm back with another daily analysis. As always, we're going to start off with the Forex analysis. And to be more exact, I'm going to start off with GBP CAD, where we can see that we have a very good looking bullish setup. We have a continuation of this uptrend with this bullish breakout structure right here that took price higher and left imbalance behind. I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that, as we can see, is lining up perfectly with the area of interest. The trader graph is all green, and the pullback so far has been also very nice and corrective. Moving forward, we have USD with a very nice and impulsive breakout structure towards the upside. After that, we have a fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. Daily and 4-hour are both bullish on the trader graph. And lastly, we can see that the pullback was a very nice and corrective one as well. On odd CHF, we have another bullish setup right here. As we can see, we have a uptrend, and right here we broke structure to the upside. And before the break, we swept liquidity as well right here, which is a great added confluence. We also have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The trader graph is all green, and now the last thing that we need to wait for is a corrective pullback. On odd JPY, another bullish setup looking pretty similar to odd CHF. We have a aggressive break towards the upside. Before the break, liquidity was swept as well right here. Okay, we also have a fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest as well as with this bullish trader order block. The trader graph is once again all green. And now the last thing that we need to wait for is a corrective pullback towards our area of interest. On USD CAD, we have a bearish setup looking very textbook, aggressive break, fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. And now the last thing that we need to wait for is a corrective pullback. On NZD USD, we have a textbook bullish setup, a continuation of this uptrend right here with this bullish leg that took price higher and left imbalance behind. The trader graph is all green. We have a fair value gap lining up with the area of interest as well as with this bullish trader order block. And now we gotta wait and see if we get that corrective pullback, okay, because that is very important. That's the final step before we take a setup. On GBP JPY, we can see that price is extremely bullish, and right here we have a continuation of that with this textbook break towards the upside. Daily and 4-hour are both bullish on the trader graph. We have a unmitigated order block lining up with the area of interest, and now we just need to wait and see how the price will go towards our fire zone, if it's going to be corrective or not. GBP USD, once again, we have a continuation of the bullish trend with this break towards the upside. Very clear to spot it. The trader graph is all green. We have a fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. Right beneath it, we have a bullish trader order block as well. And now we gotta wait for a corrective pullback. On Euro JPY, we have another bullish setup. Okay, we have a lot of bullish setups today. Right here, textbook break, unmitigated order block lining up with the discounted area of this bullish range. The trader graph is all green, and the pullback so far has been also pretty corrective. It looks like price wants to break higher, and if it will, then this setup might become invalid. But for now, we need to wait and see what happens. On Euro CHF, another textbook bullish setups, another textbook bullish setup, a continuation of this uptrend once again with this bullish break right here. Daily and 4-hour are both bullish on the trader graph. Pullback so far looks pretty corrective, which is exactly what we want. And we also have a unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the area of interest. Okay, so looking very promising. On EuroCAD, oh, finally we have a bearish opportunity. On EuroCAD, we have a bearish shift in momentum. Okay, we swept liquidity right here above this small high, and immediately after that, we broke structure to the downside very impulsively with this bearish leg. We have a unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with the area of interest, and now we gotta wait and see if we get a corrective pullback, because if we don't, setup will become invalid. On Euro USD, we have a bullish setup. Price is overall bullish as well. And right here, we broke structure. Before the break, we swept liquidity right here. And after the break, I was able to identify this fair value gap that, as we can see, is lining up perfectly with the area of interest. The daily is also bullish on the trader graph. And now, last thing that we need to wait for is to see if we get a corrective pullback. On AUD USD, we have another bullish setup. Price is overall bullish. Right here, we broke structure very impulsively. Before we broke structure, we swept liquidity as well, right here beneath this low. And we also have this fair value gap lining up with the discounted area. The trader graph is all green, which is great. And now we need to wait for a corrective pullback. And lastly, for our Forex analysis, we have CAD JPY with another bullish opportunity. Okay, we have a textbook break of structure to the upside right here caused by this bullish leg. After the break, I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that is lining up with the area of interest. The daily is bullish on the trader graph, and now once again, the last thing that we all need to wait for is to see if we get a corrective pullback. And yeah, on that note, we'll end today's Forex analysis right here. As always, if there's any other questions, you should reach out on Discord. Now I will go over today's metals analysis, starting off with gold, where I was able to identify a bearish setup. Right here, we broke structure with this bearish leg. We actually broke multiple levels. Okay, we broke this low here, as well as this one, which is a great added confluence. We have a fair value gap lining up with the area of interest, as well as with this bearish trader order block. The 4-hour is bearish on the trader graph, and so far this pullback looks pretty corrective, if I'm being honest. So we want to see a continuation of that. Okay, and on silver, we have a bullish setup. On silver, right here, we broke structure to the upside very impulsively. After that, I was able to identify this fair value gap that, as we can see, is lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The trader graph is all green, which is exactly what we want. And now we gotta wait and see if we get a corrective pullback. And yeah, that was pretty much it for today's metals analysis. As always, if there's any further questions, you should reach out on Discord. And now I will go over today's indices analysis, starting off with US 30, where we have a textbook bearish opportunity. We have an aggressive break towards the downside. We have a fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest, as well as with this bearish trader order block. The 4-hour is bearish on the trader graph, and now we gotta wait and see if we get a corrective pullback. On SPX, we have another bearish opportunity right here. We have a bearish shift in momentum. We have a liquidity sweep, followed by a impulsive break towards the downside. After the break, I was able to identify this unmitigated order block that is lining up perfectly with the area of interest, as well as with this bearish trader order block. The 4-hour is bearish on the graph, and the pullback has been a very nice and corrective one. Okay, and lastly, we have NAS 100 for indices analysis, where I wasn't able to identify a new setup. Hence why we won't waste any time on it. We'll just leave the chart as is, and as always, when I don't see a clear setup, I'm just gonna wait for the price to develop some fresh structure. And yeah, on that note, we'll end today's indices analysis right here. As always, if there's any further questions, please feel free to reach out on Discord. And lastly, I will go over today's crypto analysis, starting off with Bitcoin, where I'm not able to identify a setup. Price is pretty much in the middle of nowhere here. I want to see a clear move either to the up or to the downside, and from there we should be able to identify something new. On Ethereum though, I was able to identify a bullish opportunity. Okay, a continuation of this uptrend with this bullish break right here that took price higher and left imbalance behind. And we also have a fair value gap lining up perfectly with the point of interest. Beneath it, we have a bullish trader order block as well. Daily and 4 hour are both bullish on the trader graph. And to be fair, this pullback doesn't seem too aggressive. But let's see if we can continue like that. Okay, hopefully we won't get a spike that will trigger us, because that will look pretty bearish. Okay, on Dogecoin, nothing to analyze really, no new setups, hence why we're just gonna wait for some fresh structure on this one. XRP, I think we have the same story here as well. Yeah, as we can see, price is moving sideways. We have these huge wicks right here as well, so we just need to wait for a clear decision, for a clear move to the up or to the downside. And lastly, we have Solana, where we have a nice looking bullish setup. So right here, we broke structure to the upside with this bullish leg looking very beautifully. Before the break, we also swept liquidity right here. And after the break, I was able to identify this fair value gap that, as we can see, is lining up perfectly with the point of interest. The 4 hour is, the daily is bullish on the trader graph. And to be fair, these wicks right here tell me that the price isn't that bearish. If we had 3 full bearish candles here, then I would consider this to be a very aggressive pullback and the setup would become invalid. Okay, and yeah, on that note, this was pretty much it for today's crypto as well as the overall daily analysis. As always, I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will see you all on the dark side. Take care.